Hi everyone, welcome to the Land Down Under Hangout. Our April read is Lascar's Dagger by Glenda Larke. In this lovely... Was it you, Sarah, who gave us the term blokes in cloaks?
No, but I love that.
That's a good one.
Cloaks and cloaks. Oh, that's great.
Blokes in cloaks, yeah. I'm trying to think. I think Trudy Canavan's series had a line of blokes in cloaks. So it's.
I have them on my shelf.
Yeah. So this is a book by an Australian author, which is the reason I picked it. It's been on my pile for a little while, and I was looking for an excuse to read it. And blokes in cloaks seem to be popular with Australian writers.
Mm-hmm. Or at least Australian cover designers.
Australian cover designers for sure. Or I guess it depends. Maybe the cover designers themselves are from overseas. Who knows?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So this is an epic fantasy about a oh goodness, what would you guys say? A priest who is also a spy who gets sent off to be the spiritual advisor for the prince and princess of his kingdom and the shenanigans that ensue, which there is many.
Oh, so many shenanigans.
So many shenanigans.
Oh my goodness.
So let's get some opinions then. Kirsten, would you like to kick us off?
I really liked it, actually. Despite the fact that we're going to get into later with some discussion about the main character, I did really enjoy it. I do have a high tolerance for annoying main characters, though. I read a lot of Robin Hobb, so. But yeah, I really liked it. I'm started reading the second one. I'm really cheesed off because the third one does not exist in audiobook form. So.
Terrible.
But yeah, I picked up the next one straight away. So I did really like it. There's a few things I got annoyed by, but in general, I really liked it. So yeah.
Sarah?
I liked it enough. It felt like two books possibly in one. Like there was just so many threads and things, and it almost felt like a second book once what was the name? Matilda went to. Oh God, I can't. It's not Ardrone, but the other place. Lorien.
It started with an L.
Yeah, I can't remember. It almost felt like a second book at that point. Lomian, thank you. So that was it was interesting. I felt it was another 3-star for me. Like I enjoyed it, but I also found bits of it incredibly stressful to read. Like it just, not in a exciting kind of, but actually just in a, this is just so incredibly stressful that I just actually don't want to know, like, is she going to get caught or is he going to, it wasn't exciting in that kind of, it's a spy. It was actually more like, this is just terrifying kind of way. And there were bits that sort of dragged and you're like, oh God, my Wilfred editor. I'm not going to read on because I'd actually kind of seen where this was going sort of in the last few hours, and I was like, okay, well, that's good because it's going where I think it's going to go. But I was just also feeling a little bit annoyed by it, as it were. But it also feels like it's the end of this particular. Hopefully, we're going to the Forsaken Hemisphere. And I'll probably just read the Wikipedia page to find out what happened because I just can't put up with all the stress around this. It was just like especially for poor Sorrel. I was just oh God, this is so stressful. So yeah, Elizabeth.
Yeah, I think I actually agree with you, Sarah. Like I didn't enjoy it as much as I had hoped to. It was fine. But like I wasn't really hurrying back to it, and I haven't quite decided yet whether I'm gonna read the rest or not. So I feel a bit up in the air on that one. There were some things that I really enjoyed about it. I feel like it's doing some interesting and subversive work with epic fantasy. but yeah, it just didn't really. I think I didn't connect with the characters well enough. I liked Sorrel and I liked Artie, but they don't get a lot of page time necessarily. Sorrel more than Artie, perhaps, but she spends so much time being trapped and not really being able to get free of that it was frustrating. So
I'll be back in a second, people.
no worries.
I don't know if people can see. Hang on. Wait a minute. There's two babies in here. Well, what if the camera's lost?
Is all the good nights happening at the same time?
It seems like it. Yeah, it's good night time. Sorry.
Off you go then.
Usually we get all that done before we actually start doing the book, but
That's all right. Elizabeth can tell me why the cover doesn't match with the story.
Oh, the cover doesn't match with the story.
Well, that's what Kirsten said. She was saying about a week ago.
Well, first thought, I feel like it's like if you look in the background here, it's almost like Borobudur over here, which is not really like the setting. I wouldn't have said.
Yeah.
And it shows.
I think she said it was more not representative of it, if that makes sense.
Like I feel like the cover is very generic, and it I guess it doesn't really reflect the story very well.
I think that's what she meant.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the fact that they were going for the marketing angle rather than the representative of the story.
Definitely, I would say.
Because it is a real thing, men in cloaks.
Cloaks and cloaks, yeah. Also, it says, like, priest, scholar, spy. And I mean, sure, we got the priest and we got the spy, but we didn't get much of the scholar, I wouldn't have said.
yeah, no scholar. Sorry, I only just walked in, but yes, agreed.
We're discussing the cover.
He's not smart enough to be a scholar. Oh, man. I know, but Jesus Christ, man.
All right, okay. Well, I missed all of that. What's happening? What's the goss?
Mel and I were just discussing the cover and whether it was very representative, which we felt like it wasn't.
No, I feel like it's definitely. I think we talked about this a little bit last week.
Yeah.
I don't know. It gave us slightly the wrong vibe, and I'm not normally like the cut off their heads kind of cover, but I kind of feel like that would have been a good one. I don't know, or maybe just the dagger itself would have been, because the dagger sounds really beautiful. I think that a beautifully illustrated dagger would have been quite alluring. Yeah. Otherwise, this just gives off a vaginal fantasy feel. Yeah, and it wasn't a vaginal fantasy novel. That's just my vibe.
I kind of thought it seemed like really a grim, dark kind of assassin-y kind of, sword fighting. I don't know. That's kind of the idea that I got, but from the cover.
I agree with the assassin part at least. Like that cover definitely, without the words spy there, I would have gone assassin.
Yeah.
Yeah. It reminded me of, and that's probably where it come from, like Assassin's Creed. If anybody here are gamers and have played that, like this is basically what you wear in Assassin's Creed in the one with Enzo, right?
I feel like we got a little bit of that at the beginning, like in the opening sequence.
Yeah, and then that was it. I really enjoyed that, and then that was it.
Although, actually, no, it did come back a little bit at the end when they're infiltrating the castle.
Yeah,
that was good, but I enjoyed that, especially working with Erdy. I was like, oh, it's like it's a bit of a heist kind of thing. This is good, And then we kind of crossed to Sorrel, and it was incredibly stressful. And I was like, oh, I don't like this. This is just, my heart is beating, and oh my god.
Man, she got the shitty end of the stick all the way through the book, didn't she?
Best character in the book, would you say?
Oh yeah, I really liked her. She was my favorite.
And she had an interesting arc as well. Like she, like by the end of it, she owned killing her dad. I don't know why I said that.
The husband.
Owned killing the husband. Just went, yeah, and he deserved it. And I was like, yeah, good for you, because yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And actually, you didn't. I was actually reflecting on this the other day. She didn't murder him. It was manslaughter. It was complete self-defense at the time.
Yeah.
So you know, it wasn't because he was about to come and kill her, and yeah, she took an opportunity to make sure she had self-defense. I was like, yeah, good for you.
Yeah. The only reason that she was up for murder was because it was the brother-in-law that was telling the story.
Yeah. But she was talking, they kept talking like, I guess this is why we have now in the court of law, we do have different terms for different things, because yeah, it wasn't premeditated.
Meditated.
Anyway, sorry, Elizabeth.
No, that's fine. So it seems like you were really attached to Sarah, because you said you were quite stressed.
I was very stressed. I think it's also having been through that whole, I don't know, it was freaking Matilda with...
Matilda, yeah.
Yeah, she was so, she was a brat at the end of the day. And yeah, I think that was the thing of just having to suffer, and I really hate it when, you know, seeing people having to suffer in that kind of way. And then by the end of it, I felt like she kind of had grown to own what she had gone through, and that just went, yeah. And I'm hoping she never has to fall into servitude like that again. Yeah, because it was, you know, whatever happens in the novels. Kirsten, you can tell me.
I've only read a little bit of the next one, but yeah.
But I really liked Artie too. I'm totally with you, Elizabeth. I want more Artie, and I actually want more of the Artie and Seika duo. I thought they were quite a good kind of foil for one another. Yeah. And other than the fact that we were constantly in Seika's head, where he's like, "Damn him, damn that, damn this," you know, God and his witchery and his magic, and it's like, God, shut up and just.
He was definitely a bit of a flawed character. It was interesting to see that it was interesting to see his racism, actually. I mean, he's not super racist. Like, he's not saying, "Oh, this guy with brown skin" or whatever, but he's like, "Oh, this magic from this other hemisphere is not right," and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like, you are an idiot.
Yeah. And
but he was also the other thing. Oh, sorry, Sarah.
My other thing was that he had the epiphany with Artie, where Artie was like going, "It's all the same magic. It's all the same God," you know. And yet he kind of abandoned that later. And I was like, hang on, you worked this out. And now you're damning him and everything. And rather than just wait, like, I was just like, oh, fuck, Kirsten, I'm going to be like, goddamn idiot. This idiot again, where he's like, oh, I want to save Sorrel. I'm like, maybe you should just trust whatever's going on, because so far it hasn't led you astray. So anyway, Kirsten, sorry.
I was just going to say it wasn't just a racist, like, he was also very, I don't know if there's a word for it, but prejudiced as far as looks go. Like, he's like, well, Sorrel, when she was like grey or whatever she was, what was her name?
The grey
Celandine.
Oh,
Celandine. Yeah. He's like, well, she's got to be bad because she's so plain looking, and Matilda's got to be, you know, she must be good because she's so beautiful. And even when he's presented with the evidence that Matilda had betrayed him, he's still like, oh, but she couldn't have meant it. And, like, you know, like, Sorrel went after him to go and fucking save his life. And he's like, oh, well, Matilda must have sent her. I'm like, but he says it a few times where he's like, Matilda must be good because she's so beautiful. And Sorrel must be bad because she's so plain. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking punch you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
that really pissed me off, because this whole, and, you know, and then when she reveals herself as her actual self and he doesn't believe that that's what she really looks like, you must be pretending that you're that beautiful just to get me to pay attention to you, instead of believing that the other image of herself was the glamour and not, like,
I mean, and he calls himself a spy. I mean,
he's kind of an inept spy.
Yeah, right. Because I don't know. Like I think most of us really like Ocean's 11, right? The modern day one. And I always remember this bit where Brad Pitt's character Rusty is coaching Matt Damon's character, whose name Dennis. I can't remember his name, but he's saying he's got to like you and then forget you as fast as possible. You've got to be as nondescript, right? And and the fact they keep sending the twins in different, like, you've got to, spies need to be as nondescript as possible. And I was like, how? I don't understand what this fertile woman, what she saw in you, because you're the most, like, how can you not see this?
Yeah, there's some unanswered questions.
He saw the glamour.
Because we still haven't found
I have
out.
a theory.
I do too, and I haven't, and I don't know because they haven't told me yet in this book. But I have a theory too.
I'd like to hear them.
You want me to go first? I reckon she's his mother.
Oh, that's not my theory at all.
Sarah?
My theory is she killed his mother.
Oh, that's even better.
Oh, wow.
He did say something like, once he finds out the truth, he's never going to trust me again.
He'll never forgive me. Yeah. So that's why I was like, because she said, she, blah, 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 and then died or whatever it was. We fell out. I was think the thing was we had a falling out. And I was like,
interesting. But yeah, I don't know yet. I'm only counting.
Did anyone else, that scene we were talking about where, there's that whole thing where he says, you don't need to make yourself beautiful, whatever. And then Sorrel goes, he thought I was beautiful. Oh, did anyone else roll their eyes?
Yes.
At that point? God, I was like, oh God, are we really here? Are we focusing on, look, is this where we are? Where a woman's told she's beautiful and she's like, oh, this apparently is what I'm worth. I was just like,
I think she got, and that was another way that she grew, which I thought, because at the beginning she's like, oh, look at him and he's training and he's got his shirt off and he's so hot, and she's like, she was drooling over him, and she was sort of, why doesn't he notice me? Why is he noticing Matilda? And she cared so much. By the end, she was like, nah, you're a dickhead, mate. And
oh, totally. I was more frustrated with the author at that point. Like, why? Like, I think it was fine. Like, where he said, oh, you don't need to make yourself beautiful. And then where she really clung to those words, it just kind of annoyed me.
Instead of being insulted like I was, like, why do you assume that the other version of me was the real version and this is the fake version? She's focusing on the fact that that he said she was beautiful, and I'm like, I know. Why are you not more annoyed that he?
I feel like I'm gonna push back there. I feel like she was pretty and damn. Bullshit. Like, sure, she did pause for a moment and go, oh, he thinks I'm beautiful, but at the same time, she was like, this guy.
Yeah, she did get better towards the end. At the beginning, she was very
really hope they don't end up together, because he does not deserve her. In fact, I liked it when she said, I know we're focusing on looks again, but she was like, that guy Artie.
Yeah.
I was like, you two, good match, right?
Well, the book, I'm up to chapter 13, so I'm a little bit of a ways into the new one. And we've hardly had any of him in it at all. They've started focusing on, remember the chick that he got together with right at the beginning, that she was also doing the same job as him, as like the spy for
Witten spy, for another Prime, I think,
or whatever she's called.
Yeah, the Prime. Yeah,
we've been following her a lot, and like this other character, this new character that she meets, and following along behind them and their story. So I'm like, I'm wondering whether that's all going to come together at some point and she's going to come back into the picture, because she seems like quite an interesting character.
Yeah, she seemed cool. She seemed like together, and like, like I like that whole first bit in the novel. I actually enjoyed the first bit of the novel. I think I said when we were discussing this last week, how are we going? And I said, actually, I'm, now I've started, I'm actually into this. I'm enjoying this. This is a nice change. I enjoyed that first scene where we're in the warehouse. That was really good fun, high stuff. Who are these people? What's going on?
Competing spies.
What was that?
Competing spies.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I liked the whole discovery of the spice, right? I felt like when Erdie is Is it Erdi or was it
In
someone
the
was discovering
audiobook, they say Artie. But
Oh, not in
how
mine.
is it
They say
spelled?
Ardi. They say Ardi.
Artie.
Ardi. Is it
ARDHI.
Oh,
H
okay.
I? Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's. I kind of thought it was like the way it's pronounced in the audiobook. I would have thought it was spelled ARDIE.
That's what I had as well. Like Hardy, like Hardy.
Yeah.
It's with, you know.
I always wonder that
IE.
when I do audiobooks. I always wonder about how things are actually spelled.
Well, that's what I was asking you. Oh, actually, Elizabeth, you can tell me because I asked this question. Is it Jasper? What was his? How do you spell his name? His friend, his merchant friend, because I couldn't quite work out whether it was Jasper or
The one that fell down the rigging.
Was it Jester or was it? Yeah,
See if I can find it. Just give me a tick. Okay, let's back it up a bit. We don't need him staked out at the thing.
Mel's having a boogie.
Mel's just keeping everyone interested while we're thinking.
Sorry to take that long.
Oh, maybe she's being our hold music. Please wait while Elizabeth finds out how to speak. Elizabeth House finds out for Sarah how to spell this character's name because Sarah couldn't quite understand like whether it was Jester or Jesper or Jasper.
I thought it was Jesper. Like
it's
technically
Juster.
Sorry.
Juster.
It was Juster. Because I thought maybe like Court Jester or just.
Well, like Jester, really but with a U instead of.
Yeah. But it was really hard to announce, and the pronunciation kind of kept throwing me off because sometimes it was Juster and sometimes it was Jester or Jesper almost. I couldn't quite remember. So I think I was asking Kirsten, how is this? And she's like, I'm listening too. I don't know.
Yeah. And I don't think I don't know whether was I even up to that bit. I can't even remember.
Yeah, we were talking about Artie and Sorrel, and I wanted to know, but I want to check before Elizabeth, did you have anything?
Oh, actually, well, I mean, I do have a question, but it can wait if you got something.
Mine was on world building and what people thought of the built world and how the similarities of it to our own medieval times and stuff.
That was kind of actually where I was going with this, and I was wondering if you feel like it should have been set in this world, because it relies, well, first of all, it uses all the same spices, but also it relies
all the same all the same
spices.
Yes, that's what I know. Oh, that was the bit I was saying when I was really excited when they were in the warehouse and I could tell what he had with star anise. He talked about it and I was like, I know what you're handling, that's star anise, and I know what those are. Those are cloves. Yeah.
It was very clever, I think, to start out with the star anise because it's got such like a distinctive shape. You know immediately what it is. Whereas like maybe trying to describe something like cloves would be harder.
Or a cinnamon quill. That's quite difficult to describe.
Also, because it's got such close parallels to like spice trade in Southeast Asia and the establishment of the East India Company.
I presumed Artie was Indian or Sri Lankan or Madagascar extraction, the way they were describing like the islands and stuff around those areas. Is that how others were thinking of? Of that? I don't know. I just wondered.
Perhaps important context. So Glenda has done a lot of conservation work, focused particularly on birds in Southeast Asia. And I think her husband's Malaysian.
Okay.
So she has like a lot of experience in the region.
It did feel like it was drawing heavily on a lot of real like places and cultures and things, but not like changing enough to make it seem like another world. But I mean, like the thing you say about the spices is interesting because we never really, like they also talk about oak trees and things like that.
That's true.
But like, I mean, nearly all fantasy books will talk about like horses or pigs or, you know, chickens or, you know, animals like that. And we never go, oh, well, those are real earth animals. So why, you know,
medieval
like,
fantasy.
yeah, we don't really
yeah.
like, so is it that far-fetched that the spices are the same if other animals like that?
Not at all. Not at all. I think it was, for me, I don't know if others felt this way, but when I first started reading this, I didn't actually know whether it was going to have a magical world to it, like if magic was real, or if it was just, he just happened to be a person of faith, and faith is all that we knew he had, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The faith system was different, but we didn't know whether the gods were real, if that made sense. Like that's how, like, the discovery that magic was real with Sorrel, I think that's where we first kind of discover it, when she's granted a witchery. Up until that point, I was like, you know, this could be, just our world, but with a slightly different religious system. How did others kind of, when they started reading it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really ambiguous for a while. For a while there, I thought that maybe the dagger was magical, and maybe there might have been magic in the other hemisphere, but maybe not in this one.
Yeah.
But that proved incorrect.
But yeah, I think it could have been fleshed out a bit more, the world, but I did quite like it, and I think I don't know whether it was the book or me, but I don't have a really clear picture about all the places, but like I'm sort of starting to get the idea of them.
You listened to it on audiobook, didn't you?
Yeah. So no maps.
There's a map.
That's one of the things with audiobooks that's frustrating is when there's never a map.
And I love a good map. Oh, cool. Oh, hang on. Keep talking. I'm going to take you off gallery view, and I'm going to
Sure. Well, you've got over here, we've got like the two main kingdoms that we're in, but over here we've got like a view of the globe sort of thing from the top.
Oh, cool. Wow. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So it's got like the what is it? The Far Forsaken Hemisphere and the Far Cherished. Let me see which one's which. Cherished is down here, and then Forsaken is up here.
So is it a tri leaf that the world?
I think that's like like instead of the
global representation.
Yeah. What's the map that we normally use? It starts with M.
The Magellan, no, I can't remember. The one where Greenland looks massive and it's not.
Yes. There's something something projection.
Mercantile. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but yes. Cool. It's just there are different versions of ways to show a globe flat. So I guess that's one way that we don't use it for our world, but is a way.
I certainly got the sense in this that they hadn't discovered all the world.
Oh yeah, like a very like you were saying, Elizabeth, with the East India Company, like that kind of equivalence in exploration as far as history goes, and
like the 1700s, it seemed about maybe a little earlier, but thereabouts.
And they just like, for instance, Australia and New Zealand, I think they discovered Australia. You guys can tell me because you're Australian, I'm not. When was Australia not discovered? When did white people
by who? Well, it depends. Depends which white people.
By the Dutch.
Oh, I thought it was quite a lot earlier by the Dutch. I'm sure there was actually someone before the Dutch were here too.
I mean, there were people that crashed into the West Coast recently.
Yeah. Gotcha. To the same point that if these people are all white people, I kind of got the sense that they haven't discovered. They talk about the Far Forsaken Hemisphere, and I was like, I don't think you've discovered everything in this hemisphere yet. I don't think you know. The world you've got is a lot smaller, or in the same way they talked about Antarctica, right? The Great Southern Land. They would talk about a land of milk and honey, and actually it's just a big desolate, ice-covered continent. But they felt like it must be there, but they thought it would be different than it was because they didn't understand enough about
I think it's also that prejudice of our religion is the only religion, and if they don't believe in our religion, they must be like evil.
Yeah.
You know, this far forsaken lands. Well, they're not like us, so they must be, you know, heathens.
Yeah. And that definitely spoke to like missionaries, you know, going out and trying to and succeeding in converting major swaths of colonized, discovered places, you know. Well, they're you know, they're God forsaken. We must help them, you know. But I think what's so interesting about this book and the setup is that God or the goddess or the spirit, whatever the spirit world is, it's not the spirit world. I don't know what it's almost like more like a nature aspect, right? Like a nature and the magic and the world, you know.
That's sort of one branch of it, though.
Yeah.
And that's what they're sort of setting up. Especially this book is setting up for like this conflict between the people that believe in the nature part of it and the people that are, I don't even know what the others really believe in. The ones that
it was a little undeveloped, I think.
That Fox guy, like what's his deal is, and who, like,
his
agenda definitely seems to be get rid of the nature lovers because we want to chop down the trees.
I don't feel like he's particularly representative of the way of the flow, though. Like,
I don't think he's a whole separate thing. The flow, because in this book, I think they spell it out a little bit more, but because they mentioned the way of the oak and the way of the flow, but what he's doing is a whole different thing. Like he's not what oak, he wants to get rid of both of them. Like the flow is where Mathilda's been sent. That's what they believe. And then Sakar's people are the oak people. But I reckon this Fox guy, he's off. He's got his own.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I feel like Belomians, although they do have this way of the flow, I think they've been greatly influenced and affected by their regal, who actually has made a pact with Ava, or the antithesis to the nature or the way of the flow. Yeah, the anti. Yeah, the devil. Yeah, and I think that's affected everything within what the Lomians do. I think Fox is also personally. I mean, this is theory time. I think Fox is in cahoots with the devil as well, personally. And I'm curious to know what you guys think about this whole twins thing.
In fact, I was wondering whether his like intense hatred of Seiko is because Seiko is actually half of a twin.
I thought that. I thought that also could be a whole mother thing.
Yeah, possibly. Who knows? Did you find that Valerian Fox was a little too mustache twirly?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Do you feel like he was a bit too much of a caricature to be?
Reminding me of someone.
The name was just already so. You know, you can't get called Valerian Fox and sound like you're going to be a good guy. You know what I mean? It's just like,
I'm trying to figure out who he reminds me of, and I just I can't put my finger on it. But he reminds me of another character, but I can't put my finger on who it is. But yeah.
I don't know.
It's not the guy from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, is it? You're on mute, Kirsten.
She's blowed her nose.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, sorry, I turned myself on mute because I was going to blow my nose, and then I talked, forgetting that I was muted. I was going to say no, I wasn't. I kind of was more thinking like, what's his name in Game of Thrones?
Lannister.
Yeah.
The head of the Lannisters.
Charles Dance is the actor, that guy.
Yeah, I like Charles Dance and the Lannister guy better though. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You think
but maybe I was thinking him more for the king that what's the face married.
The Regal.
Yeah. But I'm trying to that guy reminded me of somebody, and I can't really put my finger on who it was.
I'm trying to see if I can find famous. I'm looking up paintings to see if I can find a photo of.
I feel like the Regal is another example of where looks are a shortcut to, a shortcut to kind of characterization. It didn't prove correct in Matilda's case because she looks beautiful and she's not.
Yeah.
But I feel like the way they describe the Regal is kind of like, if you want to say, what's the word, debauched older man sort of thing who kind of is not good, gets the young bride and all that sort of thing. Like, I feel like it was really playing into stereotypes there.
Yeah. I also kind of went like, maybe it's because I'm getting old, but I'm like, he's 50, he's not 80. Why are they acting like he's 80 when he's 50? Like,
yeah.
Like,
I wasn't sure whether that was like a kind of a bias from Matilda's perspective.
Possibly, that would make sense. But like, she's talking about how like he can't walk down the stairs and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not that far off 50, and I'm like,
yeah, I imagined him a lot older, but it might be also that people like in this world that she's matching against what's happened in the her history, people died a lot sooner.
Yeah,
they aged
maybe
a lot more. They didn't have medicine and antibiotics.
It could also be like a sign of like he's packed with
yeah, that's a good point.
Him prematurely and stolen his vitality, because it should be noted that the author is not young. She didn't publish her first book until she was like at least in her middle age, and this one is not her first book. So she's not a young woman by any stretch.
Yeah. Yeah.
I made brownies in preparation for tonight.
Yum.
Well,
also,
at the moment, just one big brownie.
Felt a little that there was some perhaps inconsistency with the treatment of women in this world. On the one hand, you've got Fritillary, who is the pontificate. Woman in power, nice to see, older woman in power. Smart, got her head on her shoulders. But on the other hand,
there was nobody else in power anywhere.
Yeah.
And they were shrine keepers, but they were almost, I don't know how to describe it. They weren't people of power.
And they're not like, they're just like passing characters. They're not.
Yeah.
And they were kind of more like because they were like nuns and priests in a way. Like, they were true. Kind of. Yeah.
I have to admit, when I first met Fritillary, which I thought was an interesting name, I thought to myself, oh, that's interesting. This world has women in powerful positions. And then you're right, Elizabeth, I didn't really think about it, but yeah, it just all kind of, there was nobody else who had
not
that.
Backed up, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. And to the point that, I don't know, where Fox is in, the court trial. I mean, this had every genre in it, this book. We had a court thing happening. And, where Fox was like, a woman cannot be, you can't
trust a woman to give evidence at a trial.
And they're like, but the pontificate's a woman. Are you saying that she cannot do it? And I was like, yeah. And I'm just reflecting, is that the whole reason for setting her up, was because, they needed to have...
It does make you wonder how she got there, because every other woman seems to be completely disempowered. Like, like even the princess, who you would think would be a woman that had some power, and like she was literally powerless. Like she, had no say at all in anything that happened with her. And then Sorrel with her husband, like even the whole bit at the beginning, right at the very beginning, when she's waiting for him to call her in to bring the drinks, and it's because she one time said, don't you think you should let the servants go to bed? It's really late. That he was like, from the rest of their entire marriage, made her get all the drinks for the whole time. Do you remember that from right at the very,
Yeah.
very beginning?
Yeah.
remember.
That's why she was outside.
That was why
and
she overheard the
discussion.
conversation
Yeah.
about the daughter. And I'm like, God, like, you know, it's one of those societies where women are just, you do as you're told and you shut up.
You're chattel.
Yeah.
You're chattel. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yet,
that was never more obvious than with when the drop kick of a prince was listening to his father
Right.
talk. Reese, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Reese or Rice?
they say Reese.
We heard Reese. How was it
in the
spelled?
audio.
It's like RYCE, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, could have been Rice. Yeah,
See,
right.
you can't always put stock in the audiobook person either because they don't always say things the way they should.
No,
There
and
was
they can only
something,
go after what the
actually, there was
director
something he
says.
kept saying wrong. Did you notice he kept saying quay and quayside? The boat was quayside, and I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? And then I realized he meant quayside.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
'cause he's
he said it
American,
at
wasn't he?
least
Yeah.
twice. And I was like, dude, you don't know, that's not how you say that word.
Also,
Mm.
Kirsten, it sounds like he was saying Matilda. Is that right?
Yes, he was saying
Matilda.
Matilda.
Yeah, he didn't say Matilda. He pronounced the H.
Oh dear. Okay. Not Australian.
I thought it was Matilda because it had the E on the end, French style, but that might not be like with an E and a thing on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's.
Oh no fancy E's.
It was just Matilda, and he didn't,
Yeah.
and he pronounced the H. Okay,
think
because
so.
I thought it was like math, and then A-I-L.
D-E.
D-E, but the E was
Matilda, like with the
yeah,
E.
Matilda,
Yeah, I know,
because
yeah.
the French would pronounce it that
it's
way. That's why I thought it was that way.
It's a DA. Yeah. So it's like Australian Matilda.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe don't take too much stock in the narrator. But yeah, I was like, I was
really
yelling at
casually,
Brooke when he
no.
was saying quayside because I'm like, I think you
I
mean
didn't even pick up
quayside.
on that. I did not pick up on that at all. How bad
It's
is
only
that?
because he did it twice. And I'm like, did I hear what I just heard? And then he said it again. And I'm like,
Well, that was the whole Juster thing. Like, he couldn't even make his mind up about how to pronounce that because I was like, is it Juster or is it Jester?
yeah. I think he had different characters pronounce it differently when he was reading. I think that's part of the problem because he had different accents for different characters.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
yeah. I didn't mind it overall, the narration. Like, it didn't bug me like some of them do. But
I didn't know about, he made Sorrel Scottish. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know where the rest of her whether her,
yeah. They do mention that she has a different accent, and maybe that was just an accent that he
maybe
knew how
that's
to
it,
do.
yeah.
So he went on to give her this accent because I can do it and pull it off. You know, like
actually, yeah. What did you? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, no, you go.
I was going to ask actually, what do people think about the name conventions? I actually thought that was kind of cool. Where you had because she said you had a flower and then you had a bird, which none of them picked up on the fact that she was Red Wing, right? And he can hear birds by the end of it. I'm going, no one.
There's a lot of bird
that.
things.
Why did no one talk about that? Like all three of you missed that.
Yeah.
So,
they did, there's a few interesting
cool.
little bits of world building that were through it that, you know, that was, I quite liked that.
That was cool. And the fish thing, and I won how was Saker's name spelt?
Saker.
Oh, that's
okay.
actually how I pictured it for one.
Yay! Because I thought that, and I was like, I don't know. And so it's Saker Rampion, and I wondered if that's is that another one where it's got like you have a first name, you have a last name, and that's
Rampion is a plant, yeah.
Rampion's a plant.
Did say Saker was a kind of hawk, I think.
Oh,
okay. They mention that specifically in the book, yeah.
I couldn't remember. I kind of lost all touch with all that kind of stuff. Yes.
It was an interesting naming convention. I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Especially for something that is something so nature focused. Like the religion is like nature based. So it's nice to see some actual thought given to how that expresses itself in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think that it went nicely with where people were from as well. I really like that. And I liked what they ended up naming the baby Piper. And I thought it was really interesting. I can't quite remember what was said, but she was like, "Oh, Sandpiper," like like a bird, even though she was that's the surname. But the woman who gave the name and this was also like, I was like, everyone would, like lots of like shining lights on things, is talking about how Elizabeth, you might have to refresh my memory about this.
She said something about it being a child of sand and spice.
Yes, that was it. And I was like, that's where I was considered. I was like going, "You're all going to the far-forsaken hemisphere, whether you like it or not."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "I can see this coming," and then we just had to, have it dragged out.
Oh,
that
actually,
kind of stuff.
That reminds me. I did wonder whether, because Seika has to fight with the Dagger, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the twin?
Yeah, I do. I reckon that's his twin.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's the evil
I thought
twin.
that.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say which one of them's the evil twin.
Yeah. When you said, "Oh, I think he's a twin," I don't know who said that, whether it was Elizabeth.
That was
or
Elizabeth.
Kirsten.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, is it that dire bloke?"
Reckon
That
so.
actually makes a lot of sense, because like, where he's like, oh, that was in this book, wasn't it? I'm not jumping ahead. Where he's like, he seems really familiar. I've seen him somewhere.
I think that is in the second book.
When that
No, it was in the
no, when they were fighting and they got the birds
from,
to attack him, and
yeah,
and when
he
the
said
house
he
burned
realised
down,
when
they
he
had
First time
the
they meet. Right.
yeah, and he's like,
Yeah.
I know this guy from somewhere. We must have gone.
Yeah.
We must have been from school or something.
Yeah, we must have gone to university together. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and he's like,
And he says he
really
recognises
familiar, but
him
I
that
can't
he was the
put
son
my
of a
finger on
noble.
why. How does he know my name? All of that.
Mm-hmm,
That
mm-hmm.
that makes a lot of sense.
Let's talk more about how much of an idiot he was and how just frustrating it was. Oh my God. This is the biggest reason why I can't read ahead. I don't know how you're doing this, because I just want to sit there and
To be
throttle
fair,
the guy.
I've read 13 chapters and he's only been in one of them. He was in
that's
the first
refreshing.
chapter, or the first couple of chapters, I don't know. And only the very beginning, you start out with him, and then you go to that other chick that I was telling you about, the one that he slept with, and they were like, let's renew our friends with benefits just for one more night. And then she went away off to do her own thing again. So we've been following her for most of this book. And she meets up with this boy and all this, like,
Geralda, it looks like her name is.
Yeah. Yeah. So most of the book has not actually been with them, with the others. So, and you get the point of view from the captain of the boat for a little bit. And
oh wow!
Yeah,
man,
and how he feels about what's happening. So
I bet he feels pissed off as hell, but also trying to reconcile it with the letter he got.
Yeah, so
that's going to be very interesting.
You got that little bit on the boat at the beginning with the captain of the boat, but you haven't really. There's not been a lot from Seika so far. So
that's kind of nice. But yeah, oh God, he just annoyed me so much. Oh.
Yeah.
And it was still like the fact that he was still not trusting of everything and just kind of going, the way he kept whirling on Erdy about stuff, and it's kind of like, maybe you just need to trust everything. You got to a point where you trusted the Dagger, and now you don't trust anybody, and I'm like,
that took long friggin' enough. Like, why do you keep trying to throw it away? Have you not noticed that it's a magical dagger and it seems to be trying to help you? I know, just chuck it away again. That makes sense. Like,
yeah, he's
like
just such an idiot.
The dagger's moving in his pocket, like, maybe take the hint. Something is up. Not be just like, why is this dagger moving? Like,
he just goes, oh, it's it's cursed, or it's like, oh, yeah. I think it also just that, I mean, in some ways that shows the narrow-mindedness of what we talked about, of the privilege of being like from the civilized world kind of thing, going, oh, well, if it's this, it must be evil, it must be a curse, blah, blah, blah.
Also university educated and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was kind of like, you've had enough. And like you said, actually, that's a really good point, Elizabeth. Like when he gets talking to Erdy and Pashali and realizes that oh, this guy's actually really learned. Like, for God's sake, your eyes have been opened, but he kept resorting back to this. I don't know, maybe it's just a case of old habits die hard, but usually people have those kind of epiphanies in books, and then they kind of go, oh, you know, because you can have that bit where he goes, I'm going to trust the dagger. Yeah, okay, good. And then he's like, you know, it's your fault. And so I was like, maybe this is the reason she's here. And she's like, I don't know.
On the other hand, perhaps that's more true to life.
Yeah, maybe.
True.
It just annoyed me how long he kept thinking that Zora was not on his side, and like she must be doing all this. She must have rode all this way dressed as a man to try and save my life because Matilda told her to. Like,
yeah. God.
And like, just.
Well, the nice thing was, though, I did enjoy the scene where he bursts into the room and she says, oh my goodness, you're here to save me. Aren't you here to save me? No. And they're having this whole conversation like the adults are talking now. And I was like, yeah, I quite like that. And she's like, I don't know what's going on. It's like, yeah, that's pretty much it. Because so I thought that was kind of interesting.
I'm interested to see where her character goes, because I reckon she's gonna grow a lot, Matilda. I think she's, you know,
Goodness, I hope so.
I think she's gonna get
Oh, go on.
I just think she's gonna get a bit smarter and a bit more, because she's very young. Like, she's been very spoiled and she's very young, and I think that all this stuff that she's going through, I think she might surprise us. She might come out a bit for the better by the end.
I think I've been thinking about this. I don't know if we've had this yet. I think Vilma's going to die, and then that's going to be very interesting. What happens with the son and everything, because then she basically
wants him to die.
Yeah, I think we all do. Do we think? Okay, who do we think the kids belong to? Or not belong to, but who do we think fathered the children?
It's got to be the Fox guy, right?
He seems like it was twins, right?
Twins. Seika.
Oh, because you think Seika's a twin.
Because I think Seika is a twin. That was one of the other reasons why I thought he might be. And it didn't point in that way.
I think it's not going to be the king. the whatever, Regal, whatever he is.
No, it's definitely not the Regal. He'd had, 3 wives who'd not been able to have children. It's not the wives. I'm telling people.
Yeah.
But just to back up a minute, I actually thought Seika had a bit of a point about Matilda in some respects. Like, she's not a nice person, but if I was in that situation, I'd be trying to do whatever I could to get out of it too.
Yeah, she's not nice, but she's not dumb either. That was
she is a little bit.
Well, she's naive.
She's young and naive, and I don't think she's worked out, because she got sold off at such an early age too. I don't think she's had enough time to work out how to play things, because also her mother died, and I think if her mother had been around, it would have been a big help to help her learn how to basically manipulate the court, and she's had to work that out on her own.
I think she was smart enough to know that, look, that guy's had 3 wives and none of them have had a baby. I'm going to get myself pregnant just before I get sold off, so at least he doesn't knock me off like he did to all the others. Like, I reckon she did that on purpose, especially because they keep pointing out, like, oh, women of the court know how to prevent a pregnancy, and it's like, well, even modern contraceptives are not perfect, but like, maybe she didn't want to prevent it. Maybe she wanted that to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think that she might end up being another low-level villain in some respects.
That's what I wondered, because I think that I wondered about Vilma popping his clogs and then her deciding to, because she then gets the prestige she needs as being the mother of the is it regent or something? What do you call it when
she would be the regent?
Yeah, thank you. She'll have the power that she's craved. She'll have the respect that she's always craved, and I think she'll find that enticing, and she's, and I think she'll do anything she can do to keep hold of it. Like, she doesn't want to go back after she gets that. My theory, she won't go. Like, why would she want to go back to Ardra after that? She'll be able to change things. Who's going to tell her no? It's, you know, she has the power.
Why would she want to go back there? Because then she'd have to do what her father says again.
Well, that's it. And that's why I think he'll pop his clogs, and then she'll be about trying to make the deal with, I was about to say Anwar, but that's not, was it?
Will he just die, or will she knock him off? That's the thing.
I don't know.
I don't know if she's quite there yet. I think he'll probably pop his clogs, as Sarah says.
Well, in the bit that I've read so far, she's like, have some more cake. Have some more bacon.
She's still doing that. She's still trying to get him to have a heart attack.
Maybe not. Maybe
so
not.
Maybe like an indirect method, but yeah, I see what you're saying, Kirsten.
So funny.
And I mean, yeah, like, as I said, she's not the most likable character, but at the same time, I could still sympathize with her for the situation that she's in. So, yeah.
She's just used to being up. She doesn't think she hasn't had to be empathetic to other people, so she just doesn't know what that is.
Yeah.
I think
that's not too loud. I put the kettle on for more tea.
Can't even hear it. I think she would be a lot more sympathetic if she hadn't been so awful to Sorrel, because Sorrel only was ever there to help her, and she was like just so dismissive of her, and like even what she did to Seiko, which was awful, I could kind of see like she's desperate and she's going to do anything to stop her from getting to this marriage. But the way she treated Sorrel didn't have anything to do with that.
It was
just her being.
It was just blackmailing, and that's.
But I mean,
yeah.
But I mean, it was also just this spoiltness and this
You are here,
yeah.
You're here to serve me. You're
so
not a
much,
person who has needs and wants and desires. You are here to serve me. That is everything I do.
It's not a person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and that's
I kind of enjoyed that, actually. Like, I feel like female characters shouldn't all have to be likable and nice people. So,
they're fairly accurate, I would say, as well. You know, because she also didn't get the training of how to. Even if you do view people, even if you are from the court and you view people as resources, that doesn't get you what you want. Whereas if she had actually, you know, what's that great classic line? You know, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Like, if she'd really drawn in Sorrel bosom buddies, you know, learnt how to manipulate her with guilt and kindness and stuff. That's a ruler. You know, that's you need to be careful of. That's dangerous liaisons kind of stuff, right?
Do you think we'll see her develop that? Like, do you think that's where she'll go from here?
She needs training if she's to do it, though. That's the problem. She'd need to be trained. And she never got that, whereas her father had it but never trained her. Yeah. I don't know. To me, I think you need to have that modelled for you, and I think that in a court situation, if you had queens and aunts and things, you'd have that modelled for you, but I don't think from her behaviour she hadn't had that modelled.
And the Regal sister's not going to provide a model like that either.
Sorry, what was that?
I said the Regal sister is not going to provide a model like that either.
No, and that's that if he pops his clogs, that's going to be the relationship I'm going to be interested to see what happens.
Yeah, that would be a good relationship to watch. Yeah.
Because she's been like, everything goes back, and basically she's in the control of, I don't know, was a chaperone style person, and they're like, oh well, now it's not. Like, how would that spell out? Like, I can see Matilda being
I reckon there's a power struggle between those two.
Yeah, because of course the sister may actually have a lot of those powerful people in court, people she's known for years and years and years. She may even try and kill Matilda off. Oh, it's going to be interesting. Who can she trust? She does need someone to trust. So interesting. Maybe Arlene. Is it Arlene who is the midwife? Right.
Something like that, yeah. It began with A, I'm fairly sure.
It started with A. I don't think it was Arlene, but it was... I know something about this, but so I'm not going to be able to tell you. I can't theorize on this because I know something.
I can't theorize. Are you doing a G? Gene just discussed.
I'm not good at it though. That's why I normally don't do it. But I wasn't sure what was going to
Sometimes
go
you
on
just
with
can't
this book.
resist.
Well, and I didn't know what else to listen to next, and I thought, like, I do prefer to do them in a row because otherwise I forget stuff, and I find it better to just do things back to back if I'm enjoying them. Aureen, yeah.
Aureen. I knew it was close to Arlene. I couldn't think what though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still like, so annoyed that there won't be a third. There's no third audiobook. Because I said to Matt, because at first I thought, maybe the audiobook isn't available in Australia. And I said to Matt, can we get it like through nefarious means from America if there's an American version? And he's like, nope. There's no American version either. There is no audiobook at all anywhere.
When was it released?
2016. So it's not like it's new and it hasn't come out yet.
Maybe it just
may not have been popular enough.
No, I'd imagine not.
Yeah. People are too annoyed with Seika.
Which is frustrating because it's like, I do want to find out what happens, but I also am a lot slower at reading physical books at the moment. So
yeah, that's fair enough.
As a side note, in deciding on what I wanted to pick for this month, I went through all of my pile of books and did a look at the Australian authors and then did a cross-check on Audible because I know that lots of you guys listen on Audible. And, like, there's not many. It's really tough to find Australian authors on audiobook.
Well, that's why I'm so appreciative of this book, because it was an audiobook. I was like, yep, good, I've got credits, I'll get that, boom. I didn't realise it was an Australian author until, I'd actually started it.
No, I didn't either.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for checking that, because
no worries.
That does help.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, my New Zealand authors, if it's hard enough for...
oh, yeah.
I'm afraid you'll have to, but saying that they're short stories, they're not.
Yeah, I don't like to buy short stories on Audible because I feel like it's too expensive.
But I feel bad because it's even hard to get them in the libraries here, and I thought
you can't get anything from the library at the moment anyway, so I'm just going to have to buy it as an ebook.
There are Kindle. I mean, the good thing, you have to buy electronic. Sorry, everybody.
That's all right.
Anyway,
I'm sure they're probably not going to be super expensive anyway.
I'll check while you guys are chatting.
But yeah, like at the moment it's kind of, I'm not going out anywhere, so I can budget a little bit more in books that are like normally I would get from the library. I try to get most things from the library, or I use my Audible credits these days.
Yeah.
Unless it's an author like that I know for sure, like if it's an author I've read a lot of before and I know I'm going to love it, I'll just buy it. But mostly otherwise it's library books. And the library is not open.
Indeed.
So there are two scenes I wanted to bring up so there was the scene where he's left out to die in the middle of the snow.
Mountains, yep.
That, oh my God, it just dragged. I was like, oh, for God's sake, die already. It was getting to that point for me. I don't know if anybody else had that. And I was listening to audiobook, but I was just like, it just dragged on and on and on.
That didn't feel like that for me because I was like, I was kind of but cold is the thing that I can't stand. So I was like really empathizing. I'm like, oh my God. And then the brand on his face and like the guy saying like, let's do his other
But
thing.
even when he's in a cold, what do you call it? Not hypnotic. What do you call it when you when you have visions? Sorry. Hallucination, like hallucination type period. He was still being a freaking idiot. Like, I was just like, and the green woman's like going like that, and he's like, no, I'm coming this way. I was like, for fuck's sake, turn around and go the way she's pointing. Is it that hard? He was just like such an idiot.
Also, like, she straight up tells him that it's all one, all the magic of the world, and all of.
Oh, I didn't remember that, but you're right. Oh my God!
And then Artie tells him again later, and he's still like, "This is evil magic from the other hemisphere." I'm like, dude.
Oh, yeah, it's just ridiculous. The other scene that really got me though, and this is the big reason I can't read forth, is the scene where Sorrel's sneaking out of the castle with the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the anxiety, the stress. I mean,
but I thought that part was really well written for that it made us
anxious, but it was
especially because the way that she revealed to Seika that everyone was out looking for someone with a glamour, but we know that she didn't know that, and that was like, whoa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very suspenseful.
Yeah, I thought that was
Oh.
well done, because the way that, like, the storytelling way that instead of just having her getting chased or having her knowing that everyone was out looking for her, that tension was amped up by the fact that we knew something she didn't know, you know, and...
Oh, no, not that bit. The bit where she's actually sneaking out of the castle before anybody even knows.
Oh,
and she goes
with
down the spiral staircase with the
okay.
baby who's just been frickin' born.
Yeah.
And I was like, the bit where she's going through the city and she's just getting more and more stressed out. That I actually thought was very well done. Agreed. Like, they were both really well done, but I found that whole bit sneaking out. I was like, oh my God, this is so stressful. And she's got this baby. And then, yeah. I thought I did think it was really good, though, that the author spoke to, you know, wet nurses and, you know, getting the baby to suckle as much as possible before. And I was a little bit, though, like, I was kind of going, well, apparently it was easy with Matilda.
Yeah, well, and like I will see, and I was like, yeah, but all it's going to be is like the tiniest bit of colostrum at this point. Like, it's not like she's getting milk. It's not like she can fill her tummy
but
up.
I couldn't even get that happening. I was just like, yeah, nice, you know. So I was just like, great.
Oh yeah, in movies and books, people can just breastfeed like it's like put the baby on the boob and everything just happens.
Yeah, and like Matilda staying quiet and everything. I was just like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I suppose there's that religion where they have to keep, cults where they have to keep quiet.
Oh, that's Scientology has that.
Yeah.
Not allowed to make noise. But I thought that was an interesting, like, hint into the strength that she's got. That, like, even though we sort of seen her as this, she has got some strength there and she has got some determination and she's willing to use it. She's willing to basically get, you know, step on anybody that she needs to get what she wants. And so I think I reckon she does have the determination to be able to go, I'm going to bite down on this rag and I'm not going to make a noise, because I think we sort of saw that from her character already, that she's willing to do whatever it takes to get what she wants.
Yeah,
so
and I actually
can totally
understood
see her doing that.
Yeah, and I also understood why she wouldn't, like, even like Sorrel and Arlene couldn't understand, but I understood why she didn't want to look at the baby, or she just wouldn't, because I totally got that. I'm like, you're going, this child's never going to be part of your life, like.
And she's also decided already that's the devil-kin child, because of course she has, because
she has to.
I have to love this baby that I've got.
Yeah.
And come to terms with the fact that I've given this other one away. Of course, I'm going to, in my head, say the other one must be the bad one and this one's the good one.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
and
how else
she's
do you
17
cope?
or 18.
Yeah.
I actually thought that was well done, and I thought also I completely understood, you know, in a way that the other characters didn't. Sorry, I'm in my brownie.
And I think the childbirth scene was quite, even though they didn't really go into a lot of detail, like they did quite well in, like, talked about, like, we have to clean up. Like, it wasn't just like, okay, bring in the next lot of people for the next baby. It's like, yeah, no, there's another, like, and obviously they're fraternal twins. Is that, which is the one where they have their own placenta? Because she was talking about the afterbirth. So it's like, obviously each twin has its own placenta. They're not identical twins. So
yeah, but fraternal twins can also share a placenta.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the other way around, is it?
That's interesting.
Yeah, fraternal twins are non-identical, I think.
Yeah, but I don't think the identical twins can be identical if they have their own placentas. Like, I think it can work the other way, but not that way. Does that make sense?
It was pretty obvious at that point they were going to definitely be fraternal if there was two placentas, but it was a question of whether the other one's going to be a girl or a boy.
Yeah.
Good
and
foreshadowing.
I just thought that it was interesting that they were like, the midwife now has to clean up the evidence of this first baby, and she said, she only had minimal tearing, so we'll get away with it. And I was like, well, they mentioned that tearing is a thing, so like, whereas a lot of books don't really go into that.
I was saying that the fact that there was a separate placenta for the baby, good foreshadowing that they're going to be different gender babies.
Yeah.
Like, it's not saying for certain
necessarily, but
like it's a
but
good
it's
indicator
possible.
that they probably might be.
Yeah, and I just thought it was quite well done, because a lot of the time in especially in fantasy books, and especially ones written by men, which may be because it's written by a woman, like it's like she had the baby and then she was up running and going, and like, you know, it's the beginning of Saga where she's like, I'm gonna I'm gonna go and fight people and run and shit, like 5 minutes after I had a baby. I thought it was quite realistic. Like
I also thought it was good that they had her in labour for a while as well.
Yeah, I liked it where she's like the next morning.
What do you mean tonight? What do you mean
like,
tonight?
What do you mean
I was like,
tonight? It's morning, and it's like, yeah, honey.
Like,
sorry
yeah.
about this. It's your first baby. You're gonna be waiting a while. Although she did go to sleep, and I'm like,
she did. I only managed that once. A little bit at the beginning, but then I had an epidural, and then I dozed on and off.
Yeah, I
made Kevin sleep.
Although I don't think I was in labour long enough to sleep, so I probably because I
with Xander or with Xander.
Well, I didn't have any labour with Xander.
With Xander, but with Claire, I don't know.
With Claire, I started feeling pains at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and she was born 11 o'clock the next morning. So
the next morning, so like 28 hours.
No, like so like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then by 11 o'clock she was born.
Boom,
so
done.
Not pretty quick, but I mean, I don't know whether it's quicker with the second. Like, that doesn't make sense if it's the second baby, but also the first baby was a C-section. I didn't even go into labour, so
yeah, who knows?
I don't know, but it was fairly quick, like not long enough that I would. And it was daytime. Like even though I'd been up half the night, like it wasn't like I don't sleep that much as it is, so it wasn't super.
Getting back
exhausted.
to the book. Was there anything further that you guys wanted to talk about?
What about Dagger itself? What did you guys think of the Dagger itself? I thought it was really quite interesting that the feather. We haven't really talked about the feathers, and I thought it was interesting. The feathers are in the dagger.
That's why I think that the illustration should have been of the dagger, because it sounds like such a beautiful object.
You can sort of see it on the cover. Is it not in his hand on the cover?
It is, but it's not really like it's not a really good depiction of the dagger. I wouldn't have said.
I liked the idea of what I thought was interesting on the wordplay of Chindarawasi. Is that right?
Chenderawassi,
Chenderawassi, which was the bird, the islands. There was like a few different meanings.
Yeah, it had different.
Magic.
The same word had different meanings, which is quite common in a lot of languages. That
it almost was like, this is sacred. So anything that is sacred uses this word. And again, it's like I was just like, he's like, oh, well, it's this and this, and he was finding it really like I was like. I was like, haven't you went to university? Like, maybe you don't study other cultures, but like this sounds like something that's like the bird is culture, and it was just like, yes, it sounds like this is a sign for something that's sacred, or like the Maori have a word called tapu, which is basically the same thing. It can mean sacred, forbidden, precious place. And it can refer to a place. It can refer to people. Like maybe that's why I kind of got a little bit more, is because I've grown up with that word and understanding it from a cultural point of view. It can also mean a curse, or like this is tapu. Basically means something is sacred, but it can mean anything from how you. With elders to a place or objects or whatnot, or even a song can be tapu because it's precious and it's sacred and only certain people can sing it, kind of thing.
Sure, and I have not grown up with that word, and I found it pretty easy to understand. So
good, good, because it wasn't.
So
just
it is that Safe is an idiot and not just lack of experience.
That's my personal opinion, though. Perhaps in Kirsten, you find it was the same. Like it felt.
No, it made sense to me, and it made sense to me that it like if it's that important in their culture, that those things would share a term, and that and that to them it would make total sense. those things are all linked, you know.
I mean, it's not like place names just come out of nowhere. Like, they're named after stuff here too.
Yeah.
Sorry, have you ever heard that saying that in English, especially in Western civilizations, place names, you know, suburbs and stuff, are named after what gets destroyed to build what's there?
I've not heard that, but
so, you know, you'll go to like Two Rivers and there's like no river there anymore, or Seven Pines.
Yeah.
Things like that. Sorry, I just always thought that was very funny and very true.
Sad but true, yep. As for the dagger, I liked it that it had personality.
Mm-hmm.
And
Does it have personality the way the cloak has in like Doctor Strange?
I guess similar in a way.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of the Ring in Lord of the Rings as well. Like, you know, it has kind of a mind of its own, except not in an evil way, the way the Ring.
I was going to say that's an evil thing.
No, I know, but in the same kind of like, it can move, but only in a certain way, and it's like I found it really interesting the way it found its way back to him. Sometimes, like it'd get passed on. Like this fisherman will have pulled it up out of the water with the fish, and then he passes on to someone else. It's not like it's like necessarily always physically moving, although obviously it can do that as well. I thought that was quite interesting.
I did think it was also very interesting. I wondered whether the dagger had intended to be thrown away especially when he drops it in the river on his way to the shrine, right? Because after that, because the dagger seems to confer some kind of protection, but in order for him to be staked out on top of the mountain, he can't be protected. So the dagger disappears and then comes back to him after he has made the deal.
I think you're onto something there, because he tries to throw it away previously and can't do it, right? And then suddenly he could do it. And you're right that he kept meaning to write to the Pontifex about it, but kept forgetting. So
that was really cool. I like that.
Over his thoughts. Yeah. I missed that. But I
was like, why did I forget to tell her about that dagger? I meant to tell her about the dagger. Why did I not do it? Like, that was really good.
That makes sense in terms of your analogy to the One Ring then. So
yeah. Like he'd go, I'm going to tell her about this dagger, and he'd sit down and talk to her and go, now what was I going to tell her about again? There was something important I had to say. And then he wouldn't remember until he'd left, and then he'd be like, God damn it, I was going to tell her about the dagger.
Yeah, and he kept trying to throw the thing away, like actually, and couldn't do it, and then finally managed to do it.
Oh, he did managed to throw it away a couple of times, but it came back to him quite quickly. Yeah. But that last time where he drops it in the river, it takes a few days.
Yeah.
During which time, you know, he gets captured by Valerian Fox and branded. And
I did like the bit where the guy was like, was it Fox that was saying to him about, that dagger is bad, you should get rid of it? And he's like, okay. Yeah. And he gives it to the guy.
Yeah, that was super funny. It cracked me up so bad. And Valerian Fox is just like, you're messing with me.
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. God. Anyway.
That's it from everyone?
I think so.
I am interested to see where this goes. Like, I am definitely going to keep going, at least to the end of this second book, and then I'll see how I feel at the end of the second book. Whether I want to change formats and read the third book on Kindle or something, and because I don't think I'll be getting a library book. So, yeah, I'll see how I go. But definitely, I am enjoying where the second book is going, especially because we've got some new characters and we're focusing on some other characters, and it's quite interesting. And you're getting more about wider things that are happening in the world rather than just being focusing on about these few characters. So, yeah, it's getting interesting. I'll let you guys know whether it's worth continuing.
Please do. I'd be interested also to see if Artie's old girlfriend pops up as well, because she seemed like she might
Oh, yeah, her.
All right. Finished hangout?
Yep, that's
think
it
so.
for us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Do we have next month's pick? Is Space Opera, I think. Oh,
No, I think it's Sarah's
Sarah, will you
picks, the New
introduce
Zealand
our
authors.
picks for next month?
Oh, we're doing 2 New Zealand authors, children/young adult books, very short reads. Margaret Markey, The Changeling or The Changeover? Mel?
The Changeover.
Okay, I can never remember which one it was. And we're also doing Maurice G's The Half Men of O, and they're both science fiction, or, they're both sort of, definitely not of this world.
Speculative fiction.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Nice and general. All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.